Let's be honest, the only credentials I have to critique these posters is the fact that I have an impeccable taste. So for a series or movies, the poster is really important, right? What the fuck am I doing? Who is gonna watch this video though? I swear, if you're watching this video, I don't want to sound flirty or anything, but what are you doing later? Anyways, more seriously, I don't know if Thai dramas posters are a topic that actually interests anyone besides me, but honestly I just freaking love a good poster and I needed to make a video on them. And also the less good posters. And I will be giving them different points. 1 point for originality, 1 point if it ties in some elements of the plot, 1 point if it actually makes me want to watch the show, 1 point if I like the color palette, and 1 bonus point that I will just add if I really feel like the show deserves it. So first we have Manner of Death. I actually quite like this poster, though I have like one thing that I despise about it, and it's the fact that they put this thing on Toon's face, because what was the point? And also it's just ugly, and he never wears that in the actual series. So like I like this poster. It's very simple, but it's still quite eye-catching because you have the two main characters. They look kind of dark and like mysterious. The color palette is good and like fitting for the series. So I'm gonna give it 1 point because it ties in some elements of the plot, +1 because it makes me want to watch the show because it does look intriguing, and +1 because I like the color palette. So this is gonna be a 3 out of 5. Then we have Dark Blue Kiss. And I chose this poster because for me it's probably one of the best, if not the best, from P-Off series. But he loves to do posters where it's just the characters staring straight at the camera. And I mean, it's efficient, but it's also a bit boring, let's be honest. But here with Dark Blue Kiss, I feel like that's his best poster because it's just so eye-catching. Since basically the whole picture, except for the skin tones, is blue. While they all look like soap opera characters just standing there, which goes with the actual opening credits of the series, which are very either hated or loved. I'm more in the hating camp, let's be honest. So I'm gonna give it +1 because it ties in some elements of the plot. +1, it makes me want to watch the show, and also I like the color palette, so it's gonna be a 3 out of 5. Then we have Fish Up on the Sky. First of all, my opinion is gonna be the same for every single posters that have the little like squares or bubble with all the actors under the main picture of the poster. I just don't like it at all, especially for this picture. It doesn't work at all because all of the actors are already on the poster. That being said, I don't love the color palette, but what I do appreciate with this poster especially is the dynamic. There's movement, and so it is eye-catching. I just wish it would have been cropped closer. I wish that P and Mork would be more in focus, honestly. But I'm gonna give it 1 point because it ties in some elements of the plot, 1 point because it does make me want to watch the show, and 1 bonus point because again I just like how dynamic this poster is. And then we have My Day, and the only reason I chose this poster is because I actually despise it. The color palette could have been cute. It's kind of pastel-y. I don't know why they chose that super bright neon yellow and that like bright fuchsia pink. No. And also the hashtag My Day, the series, the font is disgusting. Yeah, this just feels so cheap. 1 because it ties in some elements of the plot, and that's gonna be it. Then you have Ocean's Love. The flare from the sun is actually pretty cool. You have like a rainbow on Haruta's character. The issue is, 1, it tells me nothing from the show, like literally nothing. And in comparison, the Ocean's Love Hong Kong version of the show is so much better. But for this original poster, I just don't like it. The like yellow stripe in the middle makes no sense. The O and the L in the sky, super random. I just feel like it could have been a lot better. 1 because I like the color palette, and 1 because it makes me want to watch the show. But yeah, it's kind of a miss for me, to be honest. Then we have probably the worst poster we're gonna see today, and it's for the series My Bromance. What is that? The issue here is why is the picture like on a slide? Second of all, who fucking cares about the friend group? I mean, they're important, but this is a BL show. You should put your main character, your main ship front and center, and that's it. And like the different like frames within the frame of this poster, like it is just a mess. So I'm gonna give it a 1. I like the color palette. Yeah, but that's reaching. Honestly, that's more of a 0 out of 5. Then we have You Make Me Dance, and this is an example of a good poster. The pose is dynamic, the color palette is very restrained but good. I like the pose. I feel like it tells a lot, and it's like quite an intimate moment of the series. My only issue honestly is that I don't like that the You Make Me Dance font is on top of the picture. I just don't like the placement of that. I feel like it cuts off the characters in an awkward way. I'm gonna put 1 point because it ties in some elements of the plot, +1 because it makes me want to watch the show, +1 because I like the color palette, and I'm gonna give it a bonus point just for being a pretty fucking shot. Then we have probably like one of the biggest missed opportunity for a poster, which is a gift for someone you hate. I know they went for something, but I feel like they completely failed. What I think they should have done is in front of the shop with the neon sign behind, just the guy in the pig mask with his umbrella and his gift in the middle, super dark, but like with the neon lighting of the shop. I can see it in my mind. This would have been the best poster of all time. Honestly, I would have died for this poster. But here, I just don't like, I feel like the kind of shattered mirror effect sucks. I like the color palette of the sign though, so I'm gonna give it +1 because I like the color palette, +1 because it ties in some elements of the plot, and +1 for originality because it is an original poster. It just missed the mark for me, like honestly. Then we have Hello Stranger, and as I said, I don't like when there's different pictures in the same poster, but here I feel like that's done right because, as you know, this series was done during quarantine, so the actors were not together while filming this series. Here I feel like, first of all, the color palette is really cute, like that kind of teal color with the yellow. I like that every character has kind of their own like personality added with the drawing on top, so I'm gonna give it +1 because it ties in some elements of the plot, +1 because it makes me want to watch the show, +1 because I like the color palette. This is a good poster. Then we have 1,000 Stars. I wanted to talk about this because I'm gonna be honest, I don't love this poster. I'm not the biggest fan of Piaf's posters, simply because again, it's always the same thing of like all the characters together staring at the camera. It can start feeling a little boring. So yeah, here I don't dislike this at all. I mean, the color palette is very cute. You can see Papandao's mountains, you can see the truck that they drive, you have all the main characters. I just feel like this is a little basic. There's also the like only Tian and Pupa version of the picture that I don't know if I prefer. It just feels awkward. They're just standing and it feels a little soulless. For me, the first poster was not that good in terms of coloring, but I did like it a lot more because it had like the Papandao like hill, you have the stars. I feel like this is more indicative of the actual show because here you see the posters, you see the show is called 1,000 Stars and you're like, where are the fucking stars? +1 because it ties in some element of the show, +1 because it makes me want to watch the show, and +1 because I like the color palette. This is only a 3 out of 5. Then we have, oh my god, one of the biggest miss in terms of poster. I almost didn't watch this show because of the poster, and it's Weightlifting Fairy Kim Bok-ju. Sorry for butchering that. I love this show, but the poster honestly deterred me for watching it for a few months because what is this? This is not an ugly poster, but what does it tell me from the show? Absolutely nothing. The characters are so far away, I can't even see their faces, I can't see what they look like. I also don't like that the male lead and his ex-girlfriends are both dressed in red. It makes it seem like they're the couple in this story. I don't like this. This is not even like a location that's on the show. I just don't understand this poster. I don't like it at all. I'm gonna give it +1 for the color palette, and that's gonna be it. Then we're gonna talk about probably one of my favorite posters, which is the Stranded. First of all, the color palette, love it, love it, love it. Also, I like that, first of all, even like just the title of this series done in stone with moss on it is just fucking cool. I also like that even though there's a lot of characters there, the poster is clearly showing who the main characters are, which is crime at the very center, but also if you look closer you can see the different dynamics of the show, and I feel like that's very interesting and very well done. You can see the island behind them too. It just works. I'm gonna give it +1 for originality, +1 because it ties in some elements of the plot, +1 because it makes me want to watch the show, and +1 for the color palette. So this is gonna be a 4 out of 5. I love this poster. We also have probably one of my favorite posters we're gonna see today, which is the Great Men Academy one. So first of all, I love the color palette. Again, again, the pastels. I love that outside of the characters, everything is drawn. It really continues the cartoonish vibe of the show itself. And I also like the font for Great Men Academy with like the unicorn being the T. Fucking cool as fuck. The only issue I have with this poster is that I would have liked Love to be in between VR and Tengmo, because I feel like she's a little bit lost in between the characters, which is not very good because she's the main character. So I'm gonna give it +1 for originality with the drawn background, so cool. +1 because it ties in some elements of the plot. +1 because it makes me want to watch the show. And +1 because I like the color palette. Then we have the poster for Addicted. I don't have much to say about it because it's a very simple shot. They literally just pose their actors in front of a white wall, but they still made it really popping with that royal blue, and it just pops off with the white, and it just looks very cohesive. So I feel like that's how you can make a super simple and super like unimaginative poster look 1,000 times better. So I'm gonna give it +1 for making me want to watch the show and +1 for the color palette. And then we have probably the biggest failure of a poster, which is the History Tree Trapped poster. I despise it. First of all, I like the actual picture that was chosen to advertise the show. I feel like it's very strong and bold with the gun pointed at Tengi. On my issue, first of all, why the pink? Because this is not a color that is featured almost at all in the show, and actually the color palette of the show is a little more dark, so I feel like the background should be a little more dark and not just bright pink just because it's BL. That's my issue with a lot of BL posters, is the problem that they always put blue and pink in their posters and like call it a day. The other thing is, look at the bottom of them. They're literally cut off, and even how they were cut out, this looks so sloppy. So like this is just not good. I love the History Trapped Chinese characters, how they're put together, but it's cutting half of Xiao Fei's arm. So I'm gonna give it +1 because it ties in some elements of the plot, and that's gonna be kind of it, to be honest. Then we have Mighty, and Mighty, you know, I have a love-hate relationship with it, but here this poster I don't hate it, but I also don't really get it because the brown color palette just doesn't fit with, you can see the title that's like bright yellow and teal, again a great combo, but here with the brown this just doesn't fit. That being said, I like the pose, I like their faces, I like that they drew little devil horns on Mork. I like that, I just don't like the color palette. I wish this would be directly in the hair salon that Mork's dad has. That would already feel a little more like it fits in the series, because this background we never see in the series. So I'm gonna give it +1 because it ties in some elements of the show, +1 because it makes me want to watch the show. Could have been way better, but you know, I'll take it. Then we have Omendo, and Omendo is eye-catching. It's too eye-catching. To be honest, like the colors are a little all over the place. I don't know why the unicorn is there in the background. The castle with the rainbow, why not? Because it fits with the Rapunzel parts of the show. I like the font for Omendo. I like the color palette. I just don't like how weird all of their tops looks. I don't hate this. I feel like it's a little clunky though. So I'm gonna give it +1 for originality because it went all out. That's for sure. That's an original poster. Then we have +1 because it ties in some elements of the show. +1 because it makes me want to watch the show. Then we have Why Are You? And I hate this poster. Let me preface with this. First of all, this completely highlights the problem I had with Why Are You in general. There are too many characters. I can't see anyone. I literally can't recognize anyone. I have like to zoom in for me to fucking see the characters. So this poster should have only been Sci-Fi Zone and Tutor Fighter, okay? Not all of the other characters that honestly serve no purpose in the series. Let's be honest for 5 seconds. Also, why are they like small and there's like a table next to them and a giant guitar? +1 because I like the color palette, I guess, and +1 for tying in some elements of the show with the guitar and the sea, but that's kind of lazy to be honest. Then we have an example of a really simple but really graphic and efficient poster, which is What Did You Eat Yesterday? This series is adapted from a manga, and I just can feel the manga vibes come from this poster. So the color palette is extremely simple. You have orange, kind of the beige brown of the table, and a baby blue. You have the two main characters. You have the lettering in Japanese that takes up a lot of the space. You have the food, and I like how flat this all looks because again this feels like really reminiscent of a manga. So I'm gonna give it +1 for tying in some elements of the show, +1 for making me want to watch the show, +1 because I like the color palette. Then you have Social Syndrome. I love this poster because this is clearly an overcrowded poster on purpose. You can see that they're all put in ranks. This is a very symmetrical and just well done poster. I like the color palette that's darker, which makes me want to click. I like that they're all looking at their phones, which again gives out a little bit of the original plot. I just like this poster. This is a really well done poster. It really caught my eye, and honestly it's in big part the reason why I watch this show. So I'm gonna give it +1 for originality, +1 because it ties in some elements of the plot with the phones and social media, +1 because it makes me want to watch the show, and +1 because I like the color palette. This is one of the best posters, honestly. Then I wanted to talk about Girl From Nowhere. I really like the first poster. I feel like it's eye-catching. It's very simple, but it works really well. I like how the font is wrapped around Nano's head, how Nano's picture is scratched out, showing that she's not as innocent as she seems to be. I don't like the font on her collar like this. I feel like you can barely see what the fuck's going on. I would give it +1 for making me want to watch the show, +1 for the color palette, and a bonus one because it does look eye-catching, but I absolutely prefer the poster for the second season. I wish again it would have been cropped closer, but I love how it's so unsaturated and you have the Girl From Nowhere 2 in bright red. It just looks good, and you have only a few elements in red. You have Yuri's bow and like blood on the ground. I just really like this, and like this kind of throne, and you have Nano sitting like a bad bitch on top. So good. Then you have Secret 7. First of all, the setting is most of the setting in this series. You have all the main characters, but the actual main character, that is Pun Pun's character, stands out the most. The color palette is really not bad. The only thing I don't like is like the writing on top of Pun Pun. Kind of random, but I like how every character stands out with their own color and their own like specialty, and I don't hate this. So I'm gonna give it +1 for tying in some elements of the plot, +1 for making me want to watch the show, and +1 for the color palette. This is really not a bad poster at all. Then we have Waterboy. So Waterboy, I like the color palette, but the rest, again, as I said, I don't like when there's multiple pictures, and here there are. This should be only Y and Apple in front of the pool. Maybe Y like having Apple by the collar. Basic, but that would sell a little more of the series because this is a little messy. So I would give it +1 for the color palette. And that's kinda it, yeah. Then we have one of my favorite posters, which is Project Test Side by Side. I love this poster. First of all, you have the color palette, which is very simple. It looks good. I also feel like just by looking closer, you can tell so much of the plot. First of all, you have obviously the badminton thingies scattered on the grass. You have Dong doing Yim's laces. You have Yim like kind of annoying Dong. You have the aunt that is dressed in the same color as them. And then you have Yim's mom on the side, and you also have the family pictures right behind her. And just like the fact that they build, I mean, it's fake, but that they created this kind of like throne-ish looking house thing, so cool. I just wish the poster would have been cropped a lot closer, because here they're a little far away. So I'm gonna give it +1 for originality, +1 because it ties in some elements of the plot, +1 because it makes me want to watch the show, and +1 because I like the color palette.
I would honestly give it like a bonus point as well, so it can have a 5 out of 5 because no poster has, and it's definitely my favorite poster I've seen today.
Then we have Sotas, and Sotas honestly is one of probably the most basic but done well BL poster in my opinion, and it's also probably one of the only posters where I actually like that there's two pictures and that there's this strap in the middle. First you have Artit and Kong Pop on top. You have Artit like looking all serious and stuff, and at the bottom you have this beautiful sunset kiss that kind of lets you know that there's more that meets the eye. I don't hate this. I like the color palette, very like sunsetty. I'm gonna give it +1 for tying in some elements of the plot. I mean, it contains one of the most iconic scenes from the show, the kiss scene. +1 because it makes me want to watch the show, and +1 because I like the color palette. This is really not a bad poster. Then we have Theory of Love. You know I'm very biased for this show, but I don't think I'm super biased in saying that this is a good poster. First of all, it completely shows you that this is a show about movies. We have the title of the show with the film thing. We have each characters holding their specialty thing in making a movie, and we have all the movies in the background. What I like also is that you have like the brick background that comes from the Haute Production studio that we see in the very last episode. So it's a detail, but like they added that and I like that. The only issue I have with that, I wish it would be cropped slightly closer. I also wish they would have been wearing their special shirts. So I'm gonna put +1 for tying in some elements of the plot, +1 for making me want to watch the show, and +1 because I like the color palette. I also wanted to briefly talk about the special episode poster because I like the color palette. I like that it's very simple compared to this highly produced first poster for the first season, and I like that. This feels like an indie movie, and I like that they also switched the colors of the title. I'm gonna give it +1 for tying in some elements of the plot, +1 for making me want to watch the show, and +1 because I like the color palette. Then we have Love at First Hate, and I wanted to include this because I feel like even though it has the little squares at the bottom, I really like how this looks because it's really simple, but it tells me everything I have to know about this series. I like how they both have their color behind them, like orange and teal, a really good combo in my opinion, and also not the cliche like baby blue and pink. Thank you. So I'm gonna give it +1 for tying in some elements of the plot, +1 for making me want to watch the show, and +1 because I like the color palette. And then we have The Gifted, and I don't love this poster, but I don't hate it either. This is very mysterious, which I like. I like that you have the random hand like sticking out with like the power. It's cool. I like the dark blue palette. It just feels a little crowded in my opinion, but you know. So I'm gonna give it +1 for tying in some elements of the show with the magic. You have the hand, +1 for making me want to watch the show, and +1 because I like the color palette. Yeah. Then I wanted to talk about I Told Sunset About You and I Promise You the Moon. So you know I adore I Told Sunset About You and I hate I Promise You the Moon. The issue is that I prefer I Promise You the Moon's poster. The first poster for I Told Sunset About You I don't love. I feel like it's a little dark. It's not super representative of like the beautiful setting of Phuket. I feel like they're a little too off to the side. I wish that we would see more of them. And honestly, for me, the perfect poster for this series would have been the confession scene in episode 3 when they're in the hammock together and just like a close-up shot of their faces with that beautiful blue-purple lighting. So good. +1 because it makes me want to watch the show, +1 because I like the color palette, and yeah, I'm gonna stop there to be honest. And then for I Promise You the Moon, I prefer the color palette. It feels more like a BL show. It's just more striking in my opinion. It's still not perfect, but honestly it's better in my opinion, so I would give it +1 for tying in some elements of the show, +1 for making me want to watch the show, and +1 for the color palette. Then we have Cherry Magic, and honestly I'm so conflicted about this poster because I don't hate it. Honestly, it's one of the things that made me want to watch the show, so yeah. But I think my issue with it is that I don't like the color palette for the show. I feel like it's not representative of the show at all. The pink and blue, again, I told you, if it's BL, pink and blue, and it doesn't fit the show at all. There's barely any pink and blue in this series. I like the pose they're in, so I'm gonna give it +1 for tying in some elements of the plot. You can see that this is an office BL. I'm gonna give it +1 because it made me want to watch the show, and that's gonna be it. Then we have, I honestly don't remember anything from this show. I don't think I liked it very much, but I just was going through the shows I've watched and I realized that this is an example for me of a really, really good striking poster, and it's the ambiguous focus. It's good. First of all, like the black and white, so striking. I feel like I wish we would see a little more of the top of their heads. I don't like that we see the random jacket like popping off. They should have just removed it. But apart from that, like the position is striking. So I'm gonna give it +1 for originality, +1 for making me want to watch the show, +1 for the color palette, and a bonus, I just fucking like this pose. I like it. Then we have my favorite show. I love it. We have Project S Skate of Souls. First of all, the color palette, so good. The title, how it's written, like kind of like written by hand and shit, love it. I love how there's like graffiti, how they seem to be in a skate park. I don't know how I feel about the giant skateboard, to be honest. Bendable skateboard too. But that's kind of it. The rest I like. I feel like it's a little awkward how they're standing. So I'm gonna give it +1 for originality. It's original for sure. +1 because it ties in some elements of the plot with the skateboard. +1 because it makes me want to watch the show. And +1 because I like the color palette. Then we have Oxygen, the series. And my issue with this is that it's a good poster, but it just doesn't fit the show at all. The color palette is gorgeous, like a little too many characters, but the setting is gorgeous. Everything is good. The issue is that this scene is not in the show. You can't really see what the actual show is gonna be about, and the color palette has nothing to do with the actual show either. So I'm gonna give it +1 for making me want to watch the show, and +1 for the color palette, but this feels so random, to be honest. And then I wanted to talk about Room Alone 2, because for me it's one of the rare examples where the like little windows work, because here's the first season really bad. I'm not gonna talk about it, but this is good because you have the different colors, so this stands out already. And this is a show about 10 different people that live in 10 different rooms of the same building. So here it looks like they're looking through their window. I just feel like it fits the concept of the show, and I like it. +1 for tying in some elements of the plot, +1 for making me want to watch the show, and +1 for the color palette. Then a poster I love is Life, Love on the Line. First of all, the color palette, gorgeous. You can never go wrong with kind of that peachy orange with that teal color. Gorgeous. And I also love the big picture that's on top. It's so intimate and beautiful, and you can already tell that this is gonna be a beautiful romance story. And then what I love, my favorite element, is definitely the line and then the little characters of them walking on that line. It works. So I'm gonna give it +1 for originality, +1 for tying in some elements of the plot, +1 for making me want to watch the show, and +1 for the color palette. Then we have Tree Will Be Free, and honestly at first I didn't really love that poster, and then I realized that was because it made me think of like bad action movies, and then I realized that was exactly the point. This looks bad, but this looks good. Like first of all, you have the car they're running away from, then you have the characters, and then on top you have Neo, Shin, and Yu. You have so many guns all over the place. This feels raunchy, and the color palette is really good because it has the same bright colors from the show. So I'm gonna give it +1 for tying in some elements of the plot, +1 for making me want to watch the show, +1 for the color palette, and +1 as a bonus just because it just feels so cool and so much like an action movie. And then I wanted to talk about the debut. First of all, you need to watch this show. This is such a good show. I like this. I like the color palette a lot. My only issue is that this feels like this is a story of a girl group debuting, when in reality this is a lot darker than that. I like that it feels so innocent, but I wish they would have added like blood on like the legs of the girls and blood on the ground, and then the color palette wouldn't have worked. So I would have replaced the magenta color with another color like a pale yellow. So I'm gonna give it +1 for tying in some elements of the plot, +1 for making me want to watch the show, and +1 for the color palette. Then we have the poster for His I Didn't Think I'd Fall in Love. Honestly, this is a poster I really like because it's super simple but super efficient. You have the characters posing in front of the sea, and it just works. It's simple, it looks like an indie band posing for their first album cover. I love the fading from the sky to white. It doesn't tell me much about the show, but it looks fucking cool. So I'm gonna give it +1 for making me want to watch the show, +1 for the color palette, and +1 bonus. It's just a fucking cool picture, okay? It's just cool. Then we have Lovesick. This poster is terrible. First of all, that again you have like that bright fucking pink, disgusting, hate it. Again, multiple pictures. This tells you nothing. This should be only again Poon and No in front of the screen. Just too much is going on. I would give it a 0 honestly. And then we have for the season 2. I do prefer the color palette, so this is gonna get 1 point for that, but there's too much going on, too many characters, they're too far away, you can't see nothing, you can't really see who is the main characters. This tells you nothing of the show. It's just not good. Then we have one of my favorite Thai shows, Sleepless Society Insomnia, and I really like this poster. First of all, the color palette, there's the main characters, there's the island setting, there's the palm trees, and there's the weather. So you can feel like kind of an ominous aura from this poster, and I love it. So I'm gonna give it +1 for tying in some elements of the plot with the island, +1 for making me want to watch the show, and +1 for the color palette. Then we have a poster I really like, which is Angel Beside Me. I like how you can see the two worlds, the Angel world and the Bangkok real world. I love that we have like the holding hands. You can clearly feel that this is a romantic comedy. I love the color palette. +1 for tying in some elements of the plot, +1 for making me want to watch the show, +1 for the color palette, and a bonus point for like I love how dynamic this is. Then we have probably one of my favorite posters we're gonna see today, which is a prison playbook. First of all, the color palette is really simple but really good, but I love how simple this is, but how it pulls you in, because you can see the look these two men are sharing, and you're like, why? What's going on? What is up? You can see that one is a guard, one is a prisoner. You can already tell so much of the plot, and you're already so intrigued. So I'm gonna give it +1 for originality, +1 for tying in some elements of the plot, +1 for making me want to watch the show, and +1 for the color palette. This is a really good poster. And then we have the My Engineer poster that I don't dislike. It kind of feels like a manga. I would have preferred if they were on the same level, but I like the kind of shadowy thing. The rose is simple, but it's quite intriguing. So I'm gonna give it +1 for originality, +1 for tying in some elements of the plot with the rose, and +1 for making me want to watch the show. And then then lastly, we're finally done. We have Nitty Man, and I'm so mad because the actual first poster was what kind of attracted me to the show. It's cute as fuck. I don't like the kind of white frame around Jean's character, but apart from that, the color palette is super striking with like that super royal blue with that striking neon yellow. It works. It's really simple, but it works really well. The new poster, what is this? Too many characters? This feels like the cheapest IBL series, and this is not. So for the first poster, I would have given it +1 for making me want to watch the show, +1 for the color palette, and a bonus point for just looking cool as fuck. And then for the other one, I guess +1 for tying in some elements of the show, and that's it. So this was it for today's video. This was honestly so much fun for me, and I hope it was fun for you too. I would love to know which are your favorite Thai drama and BL posters, or the ones that you actually find hideous. I'll see you soon for a new video, and have a great day.